Hello everyone! After making tons of Metroidvania lists, I think it's time to switch things up a bit. So today we're checking out some of the best new roguelike and roguelite games you should definitely play in late 2025. Well, let's get into the list. Voidbreaker is a slick sci-fi FPS with some fancy movement. Looked fun, but nothing too wild. The game lets you build ridiculous weapons and absolutely demolish the entire level with them. And honestly, that's the kind of chaos I can get behind. I mean, you're stuck in a world run by an evil AI, so why not blow everything up? What really hooked me, though, is how mobile you are in this game. There's jumping, gliding, full-on aerial chaos. It's giving me big Marathon meets Bulletstorm vibes, perfect for raining down explosives while zipping across these alien-looking arenas. Hellclock is a new roguelike that looks like it might be riding the Hades and Diablo hype train, but trust me, it's doing something a lot more interesting than just copying the big names. The game's more like an ARPG. Think Diablo with some roguelike sprinkles. Each run earns you XP, unlocks new skills, and gives you short-term upgrades. But the real meat, that comes between runs. That's where you build out your character, buy permanent upgrades, level up abilities, and equip relics that completely change how you play. So yeah, the combat's cool, but if you're into build crafting, oh man, this game delivers. I spent hours just theory crafting weird builds. In a nutshell, Mortal Sin is a brutal first-person action roguelike with some of the hardest gameplay you'll find in the genre, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. First, let's talk visuals. Normally, we'd leave the looks for the end of a review, but with Mortal Sin, the art style is impossible to ignore. It's loud, it's bold, and it's got this raw, in-your-face use of color and contrast that can be intense. In terms of gameplay, it lets you unlock a bunch of different character builds, each with a unique twist on the game's gritty, violent world. Imagine any classic fantasy archetype, and there's probably a version of it you can play as in the game. Your job is to go on a bloody rampage through different biomes. It's fast, it's intense, and it's designed to kill you over and over again. Demonic Mahjong is basically like Balatro, but instead of playing cards, it's Mahjong. And honestly, it feels even better. The big difference is that in this game, your opponents have real personalities and playstyles. You're not just chasing a score like in Balatro, you're actually outsmarting your opponent. At the start, it feels like a normal game of Mahjong with a few twists. But once your character powers up during a run, things go completely wild. It turns into this crazy mix of strategy, luck, and combo building chaos. The game is super fun, but it does take some time to learn. Once you do though, it's addictive and flashy in all the right ways. Overlooting will have you hooked right from the start. The gameplay loop is simple but addictive. You fight enemies, grab loot, build your gear sets, and push through 3 biomes before facing a boss. What makes it fun is how quickly things can snowball. The game has that perfect mix of risk, reward, and ridiculous combos. It's not perfectly balanced, and luck plays a huge role, but that's part of the fun. One run you'll get destroyed in the first biome, the next you'll be deleting bosses like a god. For the price and replay value, it's absolutely worth checking out.
Ever onwards!
The Vampire Survivors style games are everywhere right now. Almost every kind of art style has tried it. Cute, pixel, you name it. But Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell does something different. Instead of going cartoony, it looks more like Diablo with dark, gritty visuals and a full Norse mythology theme. You'll see familiar gods like Thor, Odin, and Loki, along with tons of enemies that swarm you non-stop. And honestly, among all the Survivor-style games out there, this one's easily one of the best. If you're tired of the same old Vampire Survivors clones but still want that just one more run feeling, this is one to keep your eye on. He is coming as a roguelite auto-battler, and honestly, it's a fantastic game. A lot of people complaining about RNG probably just haven't played enough to understand how it really works. Each run is fast, but there's a surprising amount of depth. Every map gives you tools to control your luck and come up with a new strategy every time. Sure, it can be tougher when you're trying to finish specific challenges, but that's why they're called challenges. You'll fail more often, but each run teaches you something new. The more you play, the more you realize how deep and creative this game actually is.
Means getting your hands dirty.
The King is Watching is a perfect blend of real-time strategy and roguelike. The main goal is simple: defend your kingdom from endless waves of enemies. You build structures to gather resources, create troops, and upgrade your defenses. As you survive each wave, you earn rewards that make your army and your kingdom stronger for the next round until you finally face the final boss. But here's where things get interesting. Not every building works all the time. The game uses something called a gaze grid. Only the buildings inside that grid are active, so you have to keep moving it around your kingdom to collect resources and train soldiers. It sounds small, but it completely changes how you play.
Negotiate.
Once the enemy just wanted a treaty, I gave them land and snacks.
And they took your gold.
If I had $1 for every game that mixed Arkanoid, roguelite action, town building, and bullet hell all in one, I'd have exactly $1, and that game is Ball X Pit. This game takes a bunch of familiar ideas from classic games and mixes them into something fresh, fun, and instantly easy to get into. The gameplay is split into two main parts. The first is a fast-paced arcade mode where you fire bouncing balls to smash through enemies and obstacles. Each run gives you experience and resources to make your shots stronger, unlock new abilities, and pull off crazy combos. The second part happens after your run, when you return to the surface. There, you use your resources to expand and upgrade your town, unlocking new characters and bonuses for your next dive. You can even rearrange your buildings to boost production, which is surprisingly fun and addictive. Deadzone Rogue is a roguelite FPS made by Prophecy Games. You start the game off with a pistol and grenades, but soon you'll be swimming in weapons, knives, axes, SMGs, rifles, shotguns, miniguns, even weird energy blasters. And honestly, they all feel great to use. Every gun has its own weight and kick. I mostly stuck to assault rifles and SMGs, but there's plenty to experiment with. Weapons come in rarities, from common to legendary, with stronger versions adding elemental damage or passive buffs. Between fights, you can use scrap to upgrade your guns, or re-roll their perks in safe rooms. It's quick, easy, and doesn't waste time with too many menus. Just pick what's stronger and move on. Abyssus is another roguelite FPS in this list. Like most roguelike shooters, Abyssus doesn't have a deep story, but there's some cool lore hidden around the levels. You'll find journals scattered across rooms, giving you bits of world building if you take the time to explore. As for the gameplay, the gunplay here feels great. It's fast, fluid, and all about dodging attacks. Enemies hit hard, so movement is key. Once you learn their patterns and weak spots, things get really fun. Hitting that critical point and watching a flood of yellow damage numbers pop up, it's super satisfying. Ratatan is a new roguelike rhythm game from the creators of Patapon. In Ratatan, you play as cute little creatures who use the power of music to control tiny armies called Kobans. Of course, it's not all sunshine and rhythm. You'll fight off pirates and other enemies using the beat of the music to command your troops. You will tap commands to the rhythm to make your army attack, defend, or move. Hit the beat perfectly, and you enter fever mode, where your army becomes stronger and faster. You can choose from 8 different Ratatan characters, each with their own personality, abilities, and even voice actors. The variety keeps things fresh, especially since every run gives you new rewards and randomized levels. Plus, you can team up with up to 4 players online. Sworn is a roguelike action RPG made by Windwalk Games and published by Team 17, the same team behind Worms. The game mixes chaotic combat with a dark twist on the legend of King Arthur. In this game, King Arthur isn't the hero. He's turned into a ruler of evil, along with his corrupted knights of the Round Table. You play as one of Merlin's soul-forged warriors, trained to help him free Camelot from this darkness. The game's got that Hades vibe. Fast, stylish action, multiple characters to unlock, and runs that feel different every time. The art style is cel-shaded, inspired by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola, which gives it that bold comic book look. Deadly Days Roadtrip is a fun survivor roguelike that's easy to get into, but tougher than it looks. The idea is simple. You take your yellow school bus across zombie-infested areas, grab loot, collect fuel, and move on to the next stop. Pretty straightforward, right? But just because it sounds simple doesn't mean it is. You've got a radar to help find treasure, but the zombies aren't just slow walkers. Most go down in 1 or 2 hits, but there are tougher ones, like the football zombie that charges straight at you. Definitely my favorite enemy type.
The stars of the show.
Aethermancer is a roguelite that might look like a creature collector, but it's actually more about building smart teams and finding synergy. The combat is 3 versus 3 turn-based, where your team moves, then the enemy moves. Your creatures generate ether, basically mana, which you spend to use abilities. Once you get used to it, managing your ether becomes second nature. Abilities come in all types: attacks, buffs, debuffs, and setup skills, and some even mix multiple effects at once. You'll get new abilities as your creatures level up, and since it's partly random, every run feels a bit different. That keeps things fresh even after many hours.
Aether management is only one key to success. You can pursue different strategies. Let your monsters team up with the sidekick buff, or grind your opponent.
Shape of Dreams is shaping up to be one of the best new roguelites out there. In this game, you play as a traveler, exploring a dreamlike world, where your goal is to defeat a powerful god known as the First Dreamer. Each run takes you through glowing areas filled with enemies, bosses, and tons of spells, called memories, to mix and match for crazy combos. There are 8 characters to unlock, each with their own abilities and playstyles, ranging from tanks and healers to long-range DPS. What's cool is that the game works great in both solo and co-op. You can team up with up to 3 friends, and the difficulty scales smoothly, so it's always fun and fair. Stick It to the Stickman is a roguelite brawler game that totally gives me those old school Newgrounds flash game vibes we used to sneak in during computer class. But honestly, for a Stickman game, it looks really good. The visuals, characters, and world are surprisingly polished. The combat can be as simple or as crazy as you want. You can just button mash your way through levels, or mix and match your skills to create powerful combos. There are hilarious office moves like throwing coffee mugs, and even wild stuff like Hadouken fireballs or a Liu Kang-style bicycle kick. CloverPit is a roguelike slot machine that mixes the gameplay of Luck Be a Landlord, the modifiers of Balatro, and the dark, gritty style of Buckshot Roulette. In this game, you're stuck in this creepy little cell with nothing but a broken toilet and a slot machine. Your mysterious host gives you a cash goal and a deadline. Pull the lever, win money, and deposit it before time runs out. Miss the goal, and down the pit you go. Simple, but super addicting. The tone is dark, but kind of funny. Your host sounds polite, but doesn't care if you live or die. It's got that same unsettling vibe as Buckshot Roulette, except this time you're gambling with your fate instead of your life. Megabonk is a 3D roguelike that plays a lot like Vampire Survivors, but with its own wild sense of humor and some really fun movement. Just like Vampire Survivor, you move around while waves of enemies keep spawning, little goblins at first, then bigger monsters like ogres and giant scorpions. Now, let's talk about the game's humor. Megabonk is full of internet meme energy. We're talking ancient meme fossils like Giga Chad and items that spawn Borgars. Some of it's funny, some of it's just cringe in that so dumb it's kind of brilliant way. There's even a boss called Scorpionacy. Yeah, you heard that right. It's weird, chaotic, and maybe a little too online, but it never gets in the way of the gameplay. Hades 2 is a sequel that was worth it. It's bigger, smarter, and somehow manages to expand on everything that made the first game great. You play as Melinoa, the sister of Zagreus, and she's an absolute blast to control. Her attacks are infused with magic, which adds another layer to combat. Every weapon feels powerful, and when you start mixing in the boons from other gods, the combinations get wild. Furthermore, the core loop still has that satisfying Hades formula. Clear rooms, collect upgrades, and build crazy power combos as you fight your way toward each boss. But Hades 2 adds more strategy and risk-taking. You'll often need to use your materials to unlock new abilities or areas without really knowing what you'll get, and that mystery makes the game more exciting.
Are you prepared for another hard lesson?
That's all for today's list. Subscribe and like for more exciting new roguelike and roguelite games. That's it, and see you next time.